decisions. We are live on a Tuesday night on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh and Gabe Morency. Gabe, how we feeling on a Tuesday?
Well, I tell you what, the pressure's on. Congratulations, Kevin, for sweeping the board.
Thank you very much.
Last night, the production crew did very well, and we couldn't have done much better with the exception of a total base prop that we lost last night. But 5-1 for us on the program last night, including that nice, sweet, dedicated to my boy, Coach James Young, Olivia Miles, second overall pick, plus 600.
Yep. Yeah, listen. Did Coach have Miles going first overall? Yes. Hey, listen, can't get them all unless you're Gabe, who tacked on the way out. Yeah, I'll bet Lauren Betts to go fourth as well. It's like, what? He's just, you know.
Yeah, that was a nice little dunk at the end of the show. Yeah, by the way, Lauren Betts fourth over. Let's go with Lauren. Plus 170, Kevin, and it just fell right into place.
It worked perfect.
It just fell right into place last night as far as the draft was concerned.
The one thing that was funny, I was watching the first couple of picks on the broadcast, and I guess nobody clued in the camera people who was getting picked, because as they were going to announce Minnesota's pick, I saw a camera person get right up to our Fam's table. And I went, oh, wow, it's going to be Fam. And it just was Olivia Miles. I'm like, did they just, taunt our Fam? Are they going to get a sad react? I don't know what I got to tell you, the broadcast, I personally hated. I do not understand. You saw it, Gabe. All of the girls start talking in the interview with Holly Rowe, and they're like, wait, the entire arena can hear this? This is a little weird. It was a little weird the way they set that up.
You know what? I thought they did a pretty good job, to be honest with you.
All right, fair enough.
That was the first time they had a crowd like that and that type of production. So there's going to be, glitches along the way. But I thought they did a good job as far as the speed and the tempo of the draft.
That's true.
Right? It really was quick. It took an hour and a half to do 16 players. So it was like boom, boom, boom. They were banging them off one after another. And I thought the pace and the tempo was pretty good when it was all said and done. But it was really sweet to get the night going with that plus 600.
Yeah.
It really was with Olivia Miles and then the Lauren Betts after him. I actually called Kiki Rice last week to Toronto. I said, I know the Toronto Tempo would love to get Kiki Rice. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't get any action on it, Kevin, because as you saw, the books only went with the top 5. They didn't have a 7 or an 8 or this or that and stuff. And I was surprised that Flo J. Johnson fell as far as she did. And then she ends up getting traded after. And it's funny because I posted, Kevin, when it happened, I said, wow, San Francisco were already really good defensively. Now you drop in a girl that can score. I like this little touch. And then boom, they flip her. They're like, no, we're actually not keeping her. They trade her. I know people are going to want to get some NBA picks tonight, but I thought Kiki Rice was a great pick for the Toronto Tempo last night. But I think the real, you got to say if there were some real winners last night, Kevin, the Seattle Storm really walked away with a lot more than I think they thought they were going to be able to walk away with.
Look, I put it into perspective for people. The Paige Beckers, AZ Fudd 1-2. Paige is 24, Fudd is 23. Dominique Malonga, who Seattle drafted last year, is 20, and Awa Fam is 19. Meaning Fam and Malonga for Seattle will play 3 full seasons together, or 4, before they're as old as Paige and Fudd are. That duo will win championships, plural, in Seattle. That's what's supposed to happen when you have back-to-back first overall picks. We'll see if it happens for Dallas. You mentioned the play-in tonight, Gabe. I do want to just get to that right off of the bat. We will, of course, Major League Baseball. We got a couple of different things lined up for you guys here on this Tuesday night. But it's the Hornets and the Heat. It's the Suns and the Blazers. One interesting note, it's supposed to be Philly and Orlando, but a scheduling conflict with the NHL and the piping hot Philadelphia Flyers, basically my dad and Gabe's
favorite team.
The Walsh family,
the Walsh family's Philadelphia Flyers are twisting the NBA playoffs. And it's a little bit confusing because, as you stated, I don't think, the casual fan doesn't care, whatever. Look, these are playing. But, it's the 8-9, Kevin. It's not the 7-8.
It's supposed to be a rest advantage for the 7-8. If I'm Orlando, Gabe, I go, no. We have to play a day later on the we'll host a game. We'll do it Tuesday. This is nuts. Why are we on the road the wrong day because Philly can't get their stuff together? That's crazy.
Because an NHL team is playing, and they didn't anticipate this. I love the scheduling conflicts now. Just a quick tidbit of that, Kevin. There's a UFC card this Saturday in Winnipeg. All right? So, Winnipeg, Manitoba, home of the Winnipeg Jets in the same arena.
Home of Kenny Omega.
Thank you very much. And Chris Jericho.
That's
for
right.
the record. Just throw
That's
it
right.
out there. And Chris Jericho. See, I know my wrestling too.
I know.
But the card was initially announced for Ottawa. Okay? We're going to be in Ottawa. And Ottawa told them, yeah, listen, we think we're going to be in the NHL playoffs this year. So we can't do this. All right? But Winnipeg agreed. So just like that sort of, I know, so it just sort of goes to show. So in other words, you're telling me the owner and the people who run the building basically said, yeah, you know what?
I like that.
Go ahead and book. Go ahead and book the UFC. And they didn't make the playoffs. It was almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Right? It's just hilarious to me. They had two NHL cities at the same time. Yeah. And Ottawa had the confidence. Yeah, you know what? I don't think we can do this. It's actually, the NHL playoffs start that weekend. Winnipeg Jets, our building will be free. Bring it on. Our building. The same thing happened in Vancouver a couple of years ago. But the dude, the owner of the Canucks, he owns the building himself too, so he controls it. He literally booked like a motocross for like 3-4 days in the playoffs, and it came out. He actually told people, I never in a million years thought we would make the playoffs.
Yeah. So that's incredible.
It's funny when you get to these building bookings. I just got a kick out of the Winnipeg saying, we'll be free. We'll be open. And Ottawa was like, no, we're not going to be. But I'll tell you what, the owners in Charlotte, quite a surprise, Kevin, because I'm sure he's probably upset that he turned down like a Journey concert. Could have Journey that night, guys. We better make the playoffs, huh? Could have filled my building.
I'll tell you this. In Golden State, Gabe, they're open season. Steve Kerr and Steph Curry told the owners, don't worry about it. We're going nowhere. We're going
don't book any concerts.
No, the other way, Gabe. I think they said book all the concerts. Tell the Valkyries if they want to practice here, they can. Don't you worry about it. There's no Warrior playoff basketball.
Kerr being honest, hey, sir, if you're looking to book the building, don't hold back, because I don't think we'll be around for long. The Staples, the Crip right now in L.A. is thinking, son of a bitch, all these injuries. We could have booked a lot more. We could have filled this building up. But all kidding aside, I got a hard time with tonight's games, Kevin. I'm coming at you with some props. I'm coming at you with some totals tonight. I'm curious your take on the totals. These are playoff games, all right? They're playoff games. They are what they are. But are they automatically going to become the Knicks and the Heat from 20 years ago? I don't think so. I don't think so. Are you ready to lay 6 with Charlotte right now? It's pretty pricey. And then you got the Portland game, bro. That's just a complete, mind game. The sports books are absolutely begging you to take the Phoenix Suns for whatever reason.
I agree.
It's down to 3. They're like, hey, it's only 3. They're at home. You got Devin Booker. Hey, why do you want to take them? It's only Portland. It's not 5.5, 6. Why is it only 3? What's up with that?
It's been dropping. I think started around 4 even, and the Portland money has been coming in. I got a couple of interesting. One, Gabe, so up your alley. We'll talk about it all here tonight on Game Time Decisions. Game time decisions on SportsGrid. And we reach back into an arena that's been a little bit, but we've got some help. That's Marcelino Ortiz talking the world of soccer. Marcelino, the Champions League, on fire with a huge match today between Barca and Atletico Madrid. I saw a lot of Yamin Yamal chatter heading into that match. Yamal was talking about LeBron from a 3-1 comeback, which spoke to my heart a little bit. He scores 4 minutes into that game, but Madrid hold on aggregate. What were your takeaways from today's two matches?
First of all, he was about to pull it off, changing his profile picture to that iconic LeBron James one for the comeback. That first goal really put me on my back foot, but at the end, I knew that the strategy that the Cholo Simeone put together was going to be enough. A lot of factors going on for Atletico de Madrid. The team is motivated to give Griezmann, the best player in the history of the club, probably a really, really nice farewell, winning the Champions League. And El Cholo Simeone also rested everyone, every starting player in the midweek game in La Liga, even though losing, but it paid off because they advanced to the next round with a lot of grit against a Barcelona that was, dangerous. But of course, they were lacking that special player in Rafinha. That last Champions League was critical for them to advance. But at the end, it's still far for Barcelona, this continental trophy.
Marcelino, it's always interesting when you get into the aggregate, especially from a handicapping perspective. Imagine, Kevin, like if game one of the World Series, the score carries over to the next game, right? It's like, oh, you lost 7-4 in the first game, and it's 7-4 right now, and we're restarting at 7-4. So it's always interesting from a handicap perspective. But looking at tomorrow's card, Marcelino, it seems like, all right, Arsenal are already up and Bayern are already up, but they don't. It seems like they could both win again, anyways here, and they're both only up by 1 goal, so they're going to be driven and focused. Arsenal's like a minus 200 favorite, and Bayern is a minus 180 favorite right now. What are your thoughts on tomorrow? Do you think both the favorites and the home sides get it done?
Without a doubt, I think that the odds will be fulfilled on these games. I think the only question mark is Real Madrid, right? It is unwise to bet against Real Madrid in Champions League because they have that magical quality that they get it done. But if we stick to the fundamentals, this game should go on Bayern Munich side and Arsenal. Arsenal has no competition with Sporting. I think that Gyökeres, the former striker that made Sporting relevant in Europe again, will be the one that takes them out of the competition. And in Bayern Munich, we have such an organized team. I think the Mr. Company, he has put together an organized defensive team that has some very powerful weapons up front. Talking about Kane, this is a legendary striker that will be hungry to get that trophy at last. So I am betting on him to score, but in all games, both teams to score because everyone is playing it for the survival.
A lot of people can't have their eyes on Alphonso Davies of Bayern Munich, Kevin, too, who's been injured, but he's back right now. I'll just throw it out there, Kevin, and you can take it. From a future standpoint, if you had to say one team that would win right now, and Arsenal and Bayern are the favorites, yet let's be real here. It's a lot easier for me to trust Bayern in big spots in a tournament like this than it is Arsenal. I'll say Bayern wins it all. Do you agree with that, Marcelino? Who do you like?
I am a person that believes in momentum, and right now the momentum favors Bayern Munich. I think Arsenal is in front of a massive collapse. They seem to be the team to beat in every competition, and they choked in 2 very big games. When they really mattered to be the big dog, they were not able to pull through. So right now, the odds, the logic, and the insight points to Bayern Munich being the top favorite to win Champions League. Now, you cannot discount PSG. We saw how dominating they were over the 2 legs, beating both times with 2-0, dominating performances. This team is peaking at the right time. So if you want to make some money, I will bet for PSG before they get too hot, that it will be the next round. Bayern Munich is the favorite right now, so I think that PSG might be a cheap way to get a really good value out of this bet.
Just to, especially when you bring a Premier League team in, I can kind of speak to it a little bit more. Arsenal are in this very interesting place. Their manager, Mikel Arteta, has not been able to put, trophies on the mantle yet. And all of a sudden, he's staring down the barrel, right, of this incredible double. I don't know if the treble's still on the board, but a Champions League and winning the Premier League. But also, the Premier League portion of this, I think a lot of people thought was supposed to already be wrapped up. And yet, they're losing to Bournemouth, and they're losing to Southampton. City with a game in hand, 6 points back. I'm almost of the belief, though, Marcelino, one of the reasons Arsenal's numbers are so short is off the loss. I think the confidence they just have that Arsenal will get through Sporting. But if they stand across these other giants, I think people, as you've kind of said, won't have that same level of confidence on them in the big stage. But here's another interesting, Marcelino, from the Premier League narrative point of it. Harry Kane's entire career is defined by scoring goals and not winning trophies. He shows up at Bayern. They don't win the Bundesliga for the first time, it feels like, in ages. There's a lot of pressure on him.
That's right. I think that these are volatile situations, and that's why we love Champions League, because the scenarios, the narrative come to a point, they converge into very interesting storylines. For me, I think Harry Kane has a path to redemption. They have a chance right now. If they beat Real Madrid, it will be a total statement also of his level as a player and his place in the pantheon of greats of the tournament. But again, you cannot discount Real Madrid. They have a mystical relationship with Champions League where they continue to beat odds. So I'm excited. I think we're going to have great games. And now the matchups, right? Like might see a power game between Real Madrid and PSG, and PSG eliminating both Spanish giants in back-to-back Champions League. That will be very interesting, showing that the French football team has grown and is now one of the top 3 teams in the world.
I'll tell you, Kevin, no one's ever gotten rich betting EPL teams in big tournaments or England in international tournaments, all right?
Well, the England part's
like betting on the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Cowboys in the playoffs. I'm just saying,
City broke through somewhat recently. Who knows if Arsenal can do the same? Marcelino, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's a quick break. We'll be right back here on SportsGrid. right, game time decisions back here on a Tuesday night. We're going to get to plenty of NBA, certainly. We've got some Major League Baseball coming up as well. I wanted to just bring up last night, Gabe, that Dodgers-Mets game. And
I'm glad you are.
instead of making it about the Mets and their struggles, the Robleski performance is one of those, oh, come on, they can't have another guy, can they? From the LA Dodgers, right?
Well, I told you yesterday before we didn't, we were yapping on. There was so much going on, and I kind of squeezed it in.
Yeah.
His story, right? Robleski's story, unbelievable. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought it up. And how about Andy Pages as well? Andy Pages, number one, has been the Dodgers' best player this year.
Hold on. Can I interrupt you quickly, Gabe? I have to tell you something. You sent out a tweet about Andy Pages and how the Dodgers knew eventually he'd get there. Hand up on me. I thought he was in his 30s. Mid-30s. I don't know.
Oh, you thought he was a journeyman and not a young guy.
Yes, I'm like, he's had a 10-year career. I don't know if I just combined him with like Miguel Rojas. Gabe, him being 25 blew my mind. I'm like, yeah, hot for 2 weeks. No, Andy Pages might be a guy. He's 25 years old. I had no idea.
No, in a couple of years, he's going to be a star. I mean, dude, he hit like 26 home runs last year. His pop was like 24 and a half. He's already got 5 now. But big hits, great defensive player. But Robleski, great story. And I just wanted to bring it up. And I got on my soapbox last night after the Dodgers win. I said, all you Dodger haters, blah, 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 blah. You want to cry about things. Well, Robleski went in the 11th round. All right? Mm-hmm. Was that like the Dodgers' money? No. And just a great story. And I don't know if Craig knows the story, but with Robleski, that he was a stud in high school, like North Carolina, like, top tier, blue chip recruit type thing. Went to Clemson, all right? Had to get Tommy John surgery. Gets Tommy John surgery, gets hit by a car. He gets hit by a car after, all right? Ends up transferring to a JUCO college, gets hit in the face and breaks his jaw. Basically, his velocity was down to the low 80s. Lost a bunch of weight, kind of thought he was cursed and not meant to be type of thing. Dodgers took him in the 11th round. He's a World Series champion. And nearly freaking had a perfect game last night, Kevin, actually. It's kind of sneaky. Like, it was pretty close. Like, it was pretty wild last night. And then you got Andy Pages with the big 3-run shot. Listen, for all you people, like, the Dodgers have the most Rookie of the Years by far in Major League Baseball history. They've always been great at developing and judging talent.
I just think for the Dodgers, and just give me a thumbs up if we have Craig. We'll keep Craig around for a little bit. There's Craig. No, so that's great.
I think he's good to go.
That's great. Everyone's screaming at me all of a sudden. Craig, great to talk to you, of course. Craig Mish, Newswire, Pro Baseball Today, all right here on SportsGrid. Craig, with the Dodgers, right? And it's early, but I do think it sends a message when the projected best team in baseball, 2 weeks into the season, looks like the best team in baseball. They have the best record. They haven't been shut out yet. Combination of pitching, hitting. They have looked like who they're supposed to look like, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good. I don't think there's any doubt that they have been the best team in baseball. They have the best record. And I guess to the surprise of some, it looks like they're on track for the amount of wins that they were projected at the beginning of the season. But, Kevin, it is a long year, and I don't get too crazy with the first month of the season. But, yes, they've been the very best team. And the odds last night on that game will probably be the shortest odds you get on the Dodgers all season.
They're better now than they were last year. It's a pretty scary thought. They're doing this without Mookie Betts. Kyle Tucker's hitting like 250. Ohtani really hasn't gotten going yet. And they're still dominating, right? And it's really unbelievable, this team, what they put together. I want to throw something at you unbelievable, Craig. I brought this up last time we spoke. I said, it's kind of been, nothing's really stood out so far in the baseball season. But one guy that's starting to stand out a little bit is Jordan Walker right now. Holy crap. You want to talk about a player on fire?
Yeah, and this was somebody 3 or 4 years ago that the Cardinals thought would start off on fire. He really never did it, but credit to them for sticking with him and obviously going through some player development there. Had a pretty good spring, but I don't think, Gabe, that anybody saw this coming. And, certainly home runs were up last night, but generally speaking, home runs have been down at the start of the season. So maybe this is the beginning of something, but credit to Walker and credit to the Cardinals. And, I got to tell you, this is a player, Gabe, that wouldn't surprise me, by the way, to see him traded at the trade deadline. I think the Cardinals,
Ooh.
I think the Cardinals will look for anything that they can to get better in the future.
I like that.
The
Let's
Cardinal
keep Craig
fans are getting
around.
excited now about winning.
We got to keep a couple of other items on the tab here. All right, game time decisions. We're back with you guys here on a Tuesday night. Kevin Walsh, Gabriel Morency, Craig Mish joining the show. We're talking Major League Baseball. There are a couple of early starts right now on this baseball board. Maybe the most interesting is Tigers Royals 640. Framber Valdez against Cole Reagans. I did bet under in this game at 8. It's a Tigers team, Craig, that I know your Marlins just saw up close and personal. And it was an important series for Detroit to get things back on track. Valdez now kind of needs to follow suit. Got absolutely annihilated in his most recent start. I'm just curious how, again, I know everything's early season, but just the assessment between two Central teams that are 7-9, who certainly have more expectations than playing even 500 baseball this year.
Well, the positive is that I think you're on track. I don't think that there'll be a lot of runs in a game like that tonight. I do agree with you. That's definitely a positive. The other positive is that the Tigers really didn't have to go to their bullpen very deep against Miami this weekend. They won relatively easy. And so you would think also that's another positive for a low-scoring game because, again, you're going to have your best bullpen arms, including Kenley Jansen at the end of those games as well. The negative to this, Kevin, is that, man, what happened last night? There was like 1 million home runs. Is that the beginning of what's to come here? I have no idea. I was not expecting that. But the Tigers are going to be much better than they showed in the early part of the season. There's no doubt about that. And of course, Cole Reagans on the mound for Kansas City as well. Again, we talked last week about Seattle and Houston. I think I was very clear. I was very worried about Houston and not so much about Seattle. Seattle went on to win 4 games in a row. So every team's going to lose 4 or 5 over the course of the year. Never panic about the Yankees. Never panic about the Mets. It's just a very streaky start to the season. I know Gabe said, what is the narrative in the start of the year? It is streaks. A lot of teams losing and winning and getting swept like crazy in the first month of the season.
I think it's fair to panic about the Mets. I think Met fans are there within their justification to panic. But I'll tell you what, guys. You're right about like the home runs and weird, you know what I mean? A ton of runs in games and look, School Bulls game and like, oh, it was a crochet, right? There's no guarantees in baseball, as you know, Craig. You always talk about it, right? There's no guarantees. But with all that being stated, Kevin and Craig, there's a game tonight, great pitching matchup tonight. With the Toronto Blue Jays and the Milwaukee Brewers with Mizorowski on the hill versus Kevin Gossman, guys. Nice pitching matchup here, Craig. Kind of looking at the strikeout props, but both teams are very smart. They don't strike out very much, but Mizorowski's been a strikeout machine. The Blue Jays don't strike out much. I'm waiting for next Dylan C start, and I'm all in on his strikeout prop. But any opinion on Gossman versus Mizorowski tonight? Great matchup.
Yeah, I think the Blue Jays are going to win this series. The Brewers are not playing great right now, and the trends are teams that are losing continue to lose. And by the way, Milwaukee may win this game tonight in particular, but when you lose your 3-hitter or your 4-hitter going into a series, there's always it's tough to come back from that, at least initially, as they piece together with playing without Christian Yelich. So the Miz, of course, great pitcher. I'll see him Sunday in Miami. I'm looking forward to that. But I do think the Blue Jays are going to get right. I'm not really worried about them as well. I know they have some injuries. I did see Trey Savage is going to pitch in a minor league game. That's good news for them. I feel like the Blue Jays will be trending up. A little concerned, at least in the short term, about the Brewers, because every time it seems like they've lost Yelich, they've been able to piece it together. I don't know, though, this time when I look at their starting lineup, Gabe. So tough game tonight in particular. But I think the Blue Jays are going to win this series.
I wanted to ask you, Craig, about Atlanta and Miami because, in my opinion, I actually thought the Marlins grabbed a bit of a statement win last night. They started the year 1-5 on the road, and Miami has not lost close yet. Really, they've not covered a run line in any of the losses. If you just take a look at what we've seen,
Interesting.
And Atlanta is off to a good start. We've talked about a slow April burning them in the past. And I'm like, man, the Braves could kind of, go for it here. Miami jumped on them, and they kept tacking on a 10-4 win. I quite like Atlanta tonight. Atlanta's covered the run line in all of their victories so far, so I think that might be a better way to play it. But give me your sense of the win last night, Craig, and just this little NLE series we have going on.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, I don't talk about the individual games just with my coverage of the Marlins, but what I could tell you is a lot of people, it's funny that there's conversations about Ben Rice of the New York Yankees that allude to the same thing that's going on with Miami, which is the Yankees are not giving Rice at-bats against left-handed pitching. The Marlins are not giving Owen Casey at-bats against left-handed pitching. The platoons in baseball are never like they've ever been before. They're constantly going on. There's only a handful of guys around the league that are lefties that are facing lefties every single night. And why am I alluding to all of this? Because quite frankly, the Marlins are a better team when they're facing right-handed pitching because they have a lot of really good left-handed hitters, and they're going to get Kyle Stowers back, I think, this weekend too. So, look, I mean, that's my opinion overall with Miami. I just simply think that when they're facing lefties, they could be in some trouble, but when they're facing righties, as we saw last night, they just blew the doors off Atlanta, and I think that the Marlins will probably do the same the next couple of days. Really like their lineup against right-handed pitching.
Great insight, actually. Something to think about there, Craig, with the Marlins. I don't know if you remember, I brought up Owen Casey during the WBC.
Yeah.
Young player that was, trying to win the start, trying to get some playing time in the Marlins outfield. And I see not a bad start, Craig. 267, 2 home runs, and even more impressive production, 12 RBIs.
Yeah, so to further this conversation, I think it's important for you guys to know just in your future conversations because fans in Miami are going through the same thing with Casey, like New York and Ben Rice. Okay, and it was very interesting. The manager of the Marlins, Clayton McCullough, when I was sitting down with him, I was talking at the last homestand before either pregame or postgame. He asked us all a question, Gabe, when we were sitting down, and he said, "Do you know the amount of left-handed hitters across Major League Baseball that have more than 150 plate appearances?" Last year against lefties across all of baseball? Gabe, it's less than 40. That's it. In all of Major League Baseball, lefties don't hit lefties anymore. And so would I like to see Owen Casey get more at-bats against lefties? Yes. Is it going to happen eventually? Yes. I do think, Gabe, as you said, I think he's going to be a really good player, but young players from the left side, Jackson Holliday, there's a lot of other players too, they don't let them come out of the gate against the
He
left.
chases
So
pitches. He chases. You know
when
what?
I saw Yankees
Ernie Whitt
fans the
brought it
last
up,
few
Craig.
days, when I see Yankees fans bitching about Ben Rice, I'm like, don't. I mean, this is the deal. Everybody it's not just him. Everybody is going through the same exact thing, and I do like Casey a lot. I think he's going to be a great player.
That's crazy though. That there's everyone's become so much of a specialist and
That's it.
matchups that people, let the guys just play through and get, learn how to do it, Craig. It's kind of ironic.
Right. Well,
You know what I mean?
Schwarber
Like-
is one. We could do the 30.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Schwarber, it's Bryce Harper,
Ohtani,
Michael Harris,
It's,
yeah.
it's all of the
Yeah.
Dodgers. Though. Do the Dodgers have
Yeah,
the only
yeah,
lefties
yeah.
that can all hit lefty? Just to, listen,
Freddie
and I know,
Freeman.
I'm just saying, I know that I'll be associated as a Yankee. To defend Yankee fans, I don't think they're just annoyed because they adore Ben Rice. They couldn't hit. They had one guy batting over 300, and they benched him for Paul Goldschmidt, who's only on a roster against lefties.
That's it. It's lefty. Kevin, this is going on. I know what you're saying, but it
I
is
got
going
you.
on across the league. 30 teams are doing it. There's a handful of guys that are not. The 20 of the 30-something are in the All-Star game every single year.
Yeah.
This is the way
Man.
that baseball works, and maybe Ben Rice will be that guy.
Man.
But they don't believe it. I mean, this is
that's-
what
So-
they're doing.
But Yankee fans are also like, is Ben Rice our second best hitter? You can't
Yes.
be a real baseball
Yes.
team and, by the way, our second best guy sits every 2 days. That's
Against lefties.
not a real organization.
Hey,
That's
listen,
not
I saw
good.
Moneyball.
Then there are no real organizations.
No.
I saw
but-
Moneyball the other day.
Well, there might
Again.
only be one. There might be one.
Yeah,
I don't know
thank
what
you,
you
Kev.
want.
There's a few, but thank you for the compliment. Los
I'm
Angeles.
just telling you
But-
what's going on.
At the time, the movie, it's been so long, where it's like, oh, this is new and the analytics type of stuff. And I almost just hear Brad Pitt and telling in the movie, I don't care. I don't care about righty and lefty and all that
What's
type
going
stuff. I don't care about that. It still lives, Craig, after all these years.
It does. It really
It still
does.
lives.
Look, I'm just
I
saying the
don't care
Yankees should
about
trade
that
for Mike
either.
Trout.
This is
I'm just
good.
saying.
Hit the
That's just
ball.
my hot take. All right? I was trying to not bring that up. we're now living in a world where the Yankees, who make the playoffs every single year, including last year, don't make the playoffs that more often than the Marlins. By the way, nothing Craig said.
I just like that some
producers
are supportive of the host. And all right, guys, it's great segment. Next segment coming up. On this program, Sam Yarnell makes it his life mission to torture and terrorize Kevin Walsh seconds before we come back from every. He waits right until the last second, then he drops something on you that he knows can upset you.
So,
oh yeah,
just
by
so
the way,
you
it's because
know,
the Yankees suck.
Again, it's Gabe, this is what the show before Gabe got here. I would do that, but then I would just be alone and I'd be screaming at the camera. And the audience is like, I don't know what's really going on right now. I'm just screaming at Sam. So it is what it is. Now, by the way, 640 picks, obviously. We, of course, have 640 picks.
All right, bang them off.
2 of the producer pick games are in this Reds-Giants game of the year, if I'm not mistaken, from the team here. Unless Chris changed his. Oh, he did. It was at Red Sox. Oh, look at this. Red Sox first 5 team total from Chris. Giants money line from AJ. Little Robbie Ray on the road love there, Gabe.
I gotta say, why is Kofsky's picks? Why is his picks always confusing or hard? Like, why don't? Can you ever just give like a pick? Like, I like this. Like always, I look up and there's always like TT parlay / run RBI / something. It's a normal pick team total. I get it. I look up. I'm can't just give a side. It's got to be some sort of weird. He loves his props.
I'm just saying a couple things here. Just a couple quick. Okay, one.
Yarnell's consistent. He's NHL goal scorer.
Yes, it's just one of his favorite teams or from Washington and a prop in the game. It's every time. By the way, how about his Skeen strikeout under last night, Gabe? I think he had 4 Ks through 5 batters and somehow went under 6.5.
Yeah, how about that? 3 in the first. He struck out the side, right?
How in the
3
world?
In the first. Yeah, there was some chirping going on the program last night after the first one of the breaks. Oh, wow, Skeen's already at 3. How about that? So he's what? That's 0 for, he hasn't gone over yet.
0 for 4.
4.
I'll
How
tell
about
you what, they
Severino last
score
night?
runs.
He gets hit, but he sailed right over the number.
Oh, did he?
He went just, boom, 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 boom. Like, I won the strikeout prop in like the 3rd inning. He's losing 4-0. He's got like 7 strikeouts or whatever. I'm like, yeah, good.
I tell you, here, Gabe, I'll give you a good
that's modern
one.
baseball.
I took, you have one of the profit boosts, right? And I just needed like a little bit of something. I took Garrett Crochet, 5 strikeouts, minus 1,000.
Oh, yeah.
Just tossed it in. I said, all right, that'll meet the odds requirement. I'm watching. I thought the whole Twins game was a loop. I thought it was a loop. I'm like, what's going on? Why is someone rounding the bases?
I like the Twins. I like the Twins season win total over 72.5. A lot of people laughed at me coming into the year.
Yeah, they're not. They're all right.
But they stay healthy, whatever. Buxton stays healthy. And,
Buxton, another guy I'd like to be a New York Yankee. Just add it to the list. I'm just saying. Anybody with a little star power would be nice, but no, we can't have nice things.
They don't do that anymore. You guys don't do that anymore.
Oh, that's what I've been screaming about. Instead, we have Trent Grisham batting leadoff, who somehow hit 2 home runs last night off the bench. What do you like on Major League
Matt
Baseball
Chapman
board?
or something?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't go crazy tonight. I am looking forward to the NBA games, even though they're difficult handicaps. I like a couple of.
You want my NBA prop tonight that I think you'll like? I think this is up your alley.
It's got to be Bam. But dude, we've been talking about Bam all the time. He goes over all the time, and the only time Bam doesn't go over 20.5 points is in blowouts if they're either getting killed or the Heat are killing you type of thing.
Yep.
Which more so the other where they're getting killed. He's going to be on the court as 20.5.
True.
I got to go. I'm keeping it simple. I like Scoot Henderson tonight. We'll get to him. Mm-hmm. But as far as baseball, Kevin, I'm not going to lie to you. It was sort of like the NHL tonight's really tricky. There's like just weird, like sort of, it's the last game for teams and blah, blah, for some, So it's all over the place. Dodgers are intriguing again, but it's minus 200 tonight. So for me, the game that caught my eye the most actually was the Toronto-Milwaukee game tonight. The over-under at 7. I like the under.
Yeah, I took Milwaukee, minus 125. I think it's down to minus 120. I know Gaussman's been good. Gaussman was just plus 150 at home against the Dodgers. Dodgers are better than the Brewers, but home road is real. The Brewers have lost 5 in a row. They throw Mizorowski, who I think's been arguably the best pitcher in baseball to start this season. That's too good of a number on Mizorowski to pass up. I took a chance on the Brewers. I took a chance on the Padres late night game. You were high on San Diego coming into the year. They've turned this thing right around all of a sudden. Winners of 5 in a row, 8 of their last 9. I understand Brian Wu is good. Minus 120 at San Diego, good? I took a chance with Michael King and the Padres at plus 105.
I think they're very live tonight. I don't disagree. Let me throw this out here because I know we're coming up to a break. I gotta tell you, I've enjoyed jumping on the Walsh Flyer bandwagon over the last couple of weeks, and we've had faith in them. I'm like, yeah, in another spot, boom, they're gonna do it again. Another spot, do it again. They have nowhere to move now, Kevin. They're playing the Pittsburgh Penguins. Everybody know, you know what I mean? There's nothing. They have nothing to gain. They just clinched their spot last night. Now, I don't think they did the old baseball champagne type thing. It's not the same in the NHL, but nevertheless. Problem is, and the Canadians need a game tonight.
Do
Canadians need a game tonight. Yeah, absolutely, positively, dude. They win, Tampa loses. Tampa and Montreal the same amount of points coming in tonight. They're playing each other, Kevin. You get home ice is at stake in the playoff series tonight for both Tampa and Montreal. Both Tampa and Montreal want to win their games and get home ice here. Tampa on the tiebreaker for the record, so Montreal need to win, and they need Tampa to get like a less point than them. But the odds makers are onto it, bro. Montreal are like minus 210 favorites right now. I was hoping to come in with a sorry to do it, Mr. Walsh, but we got to take the Canadians tonight. But it's so high, I can't do it. I got to pass tonight. Playoffs start Saturday. We'll just sort of wait it out.
Yeah, I don't blame. I almost think it's one of those. People talked about this during the NBA regular season finale, just of there will be one upset, right? And it was Boston beating Orlando as like 13.5-point home underdogs. There's probably an upset
which gave
somewhere.
the Raptors the 5 seed instead of the 6 seed, actually.
Yeah.
Interesting. And if you're the Knicks, wouldn't you rather play the Raptors who you've beaten 13 times in a row?
Everyone has to hate Orlando.
A red-hot Atlanta team?
Atlanta sat there, guys. They're like, this is fine. All Orlando has to do is win. And then check their phones and like, wait a minute, we're playing the Knicks? Okay, game time decisions. We are back here on a Tuesday night going through some picks. And the NBA play-in tonight is where I think a lot of people will be betting. It's a really, I think these are fun games to watch, which is not always the case with the play-in. I think we've got two really, really good games here tomorrow, or tonight. Tomorrow, maybe not as much. And I found both of these lines a little bit difficult, right? Charlotte's a big favorite. Portland's kind of short. The totals are saying, hey, these are playoff numbers. I'm tempted to bet over. I'm certainly not betting under. But I found a couple of prop options that I thought were interesting. And one of the, I'll say this, I'm not sure I would be betting this if it weren't for Gabe and I doing this show. But there's just certain things you start to look into more. Ryan Kalkbrenner over 3.5 points. Minus 115.
Interesting.
Ryan Kalkbrenner, Gabe,
love those
shoots,
low numbers.
He shoots over 75% from the field. Basically, if Ryan Kalkbrenner attempts 3 shots, he should hit this. On the season, he's had 54 games where he took 3 shots. In 51 of those games, he had at least 4 points. He hit this in 60 of the 69 he played. I think this number is, it's do or die. They might not play him. Moussa Diabate's not playing 40 minutes. Ryan Kalkbrenner will play anywhere from 14 to 20 minutes, and I think he can score anywhere from 4 to 8 points in this basketball game. Give me Kalkbrenner over the 3.5.
You got me sold. I'll get a piece of that. You talked about it, Kevin. I completely agree with you, and I never take the easy way out. I always get picks, on sides. And to full clarification, I told people last night, and I said, yeah, I'm taking the Dodgers, and I parlayed the Dodgers last night with the Charlotte Hornets tonight. So I already got a head start. I got the Hornets in my back pocket right now. They just need to win the basketball game. I think if they win, they probably cover, but 6 is a lot of points. Like, you're asking a lot here. But with that being stated, I am intrigued by the total. The last 5 times these two teams have played, Kevin, it's gone over this number. They've gone over the number. They constantly get into the 230s and the 240s. They can't change. Sort of like Auburn getting the NIT. They're not suddenly going to change who they are and suddenly start playing great defense. Now, I know Charlotte has played defense, but to me, the total is a little light here. I think this game is going to get into the 230s this evening. So let's go over the 228.5. I'm going to go with Bam Adebayo over 20.5 points. It's going to be him, Powell, and Hero's going to be taking threes, but Adebayo has been the man all year long here. They're going to feed him inside. So let's go with Adebayo over 20.5 points. Phoenix and Portland, guys, I follow this Portland team. I like this Portland team, but I didn't want to bet on this Portland team tonight just because I watch them all the time, and I think they can win, and they're setting us up for a trap here tonight a little bit, but man, you're getting the Suns at minus 158 on the money line right now on their home court. Are they 100% healthy? No, but in a one-game setting, I got Devin Booker and a money line game against it. Not really an inexperienced Portland team because I actually have guys that have been around the league for a while on that team, but I just sort of see it, Kevin. Portland get it done, but on their home court later in the week. So I think they lose this game, but they get in later in the week. They'll beat the Clippers, Warriors winner, etc. And I just think this total is too light at 216.5. I got to go over the number. And Scoot Henderson, guys, has been smoking hot for the Trailblazers. He's starting right now. His prop is 12.5 tonight, Kevin. He's gone over this number in 9 of his last 11 games and 7 of his last 8. All right? Since he's been put in the starting lineup, like he's healthy, he's starting to light it up. He scores like 15, 16 points a night. His prop is 12.5. I'm going Henderson over 12.5.
I considered Henderson. I like the look. I went for Tamani Kamara for 3 made threes. This was at even money. And the reason I settled on Kamara is of all these Blazers, he's the one that I look at with the highest floor and ceiling minutes-wise. We talk about trying to find that hidden value. They played a game against the Spurs. They wanted it bad. He played 40 minutes of that game. Kamara has really turned himself into a good shooter. He's a great defender. You always need guys like that on the floor. He has attempted at least 9 threes in 7 straight games. He's made at least 3 in 6 of the 7. Give me
What else
Kamara
you got?
for 3 made threes. Major League Baseball-wise, last night we did good with the run lines. We're going back to the Braves. Give me the Brewers money line, Padres money line, and that Tigers-Royals under 8. We got the crew picks, of course, from behind the scenes. Couple of those
The
off and
Brewers
running.
tonight, too.
Red Sox still to come. Yeah, giving Mizorowski a bit of a shot there. Ovi for a goal. Maybe one last time. We'll see everybody tomorrow right back
He's
here on
not
Sports
retiring.
Grid.